Okay.
Hey girl, how are you doing?
Oh, great, actually. How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I feel refreshed. I feel like I'm in a higher timeline for sure.
Absolutely.
And I realized I was choosing, I don't want to say like a lower timeline, but I guess it was a parallel timeline that possibly wasn't going where I wanted it to go.
Mm,
And I had to realize that, and allowing the energy flow of life to take its course rather than trying to let me reel that back in.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting so hard for something or someone to stay, I was okay with finally like just letting it go. And I think in doing that, it invited so many other really cool experiences to happen that have been like miracles. So, but like you were saying, like we were chatting about just recently though, it wasn't without those really weird instances of meeting really unique people and having really strange experiences that, like you were saying, not many other people get.
Yeah.
But that is also the energy of an 11 life path. It is so dualistic. It is so like, oh, you can have a really good experience with somebody, and then you can have a really out there experience with the same person.
Right.
Just to kind of show you like duality, and how do you balance that? How do you
Mm,
overcome that? How do you get that into a oneness kind of thing? How do you not slip back into being a two instead of an 11? And a two is somebody who's very black and white, night and day, very split. So it's about not fragmenting yourself, understanding that these, situations happen because people have different sides. Everybody has light and dark, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you excuse your shadow side so that you can be a devil.
right.
It's how do we integrate not only who we are with our darkness and our light, but also integrate the experiences that present a lot of eerie darkness
Hmm.
or a lot of really almost supernatural feeling light, because that could take you out of this world too and into a illusionary reality when we do have these moments of super highs. So
Right.
for me, I really feel like I may have these like really weird experiences because it's all about not only me finding out about unilluminated truths, which are truths that haven't been revealed to the masses.
Right.
It's about also being able to, for me to understand them and then share them with other people so that we all can be moving towards being whole and not
Right.
being like stuck in black and white, dual, like always being split. Masculine's better than feminine, or feminine's better than masculine. You see, you know, we need to get more to the yin yang where it's all on the same dial. So we need the masculine, we need the feminine. It's we need
Right.
that darkness, we need that light, because without, they can't really coexist. In this realm, because we are meant to supersede this, you can't have one without the other. And it isn't until we like are able to accept that life starts to feel more fluid, I think, and that you become more accepting of experiences. Because I definitely have been through the ringer with having tolerance and patience, and had to ignore in a healthy way to preserve my protection in a lot of different situations because of the kinds of people that were taunting me on purpose. And it was almost like the divine rewarded me for that right after that. It's like, okay, well, you passed this test, you got through that, you responded this way, you weren't so resistant to the energy, you just accepted it. Okay, I'm going to give you this now. It was almost like, okay,
Right.
well, this is the next level. But it's not without having more of those growing experiences. It doesn't stop there. And I feel like I'm constantly a phoenix. Like, I'm so, and to the point that I'm tired of being a phoenix. It's like, when can I ever get to the point of where I'm coasting and I just have stability? Why do I have to keep on rising from the ashes and heading back to the ashes again?
Right.
I'm getting tired of that, and I'm really working on manifesting a new reality. And
I love that.
that kind of brings us to today's topic too. But what did you want to say, and what did you have to add?
Um, I am on the same page as far as a complete different timeline. And to be quite honest, the last couple years actually now feel like a different lifetime. And I
Yeah.
don't even know how to explain that other than that. It feels like it wasn't my life. It feels like it was something else. It's weird. I don't even know how to explain it. And that might,
No, it actually, it isn't actually that weird. It's weird when we think about it, because it's like, oh, that was just 2 weeks ago. Oh, well, that was just back in September. It feels like, oh, it's on the same road
right,
back there that I
right.
just passed. But it can feel
Yeah.
so different because you feel the growth, maybe.
Yeah. It feels like it almost feels like I woke up from a dream, like it wasn't even me, like it wasn't something I was,
Wow.
it's so
Now that's
weird. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know the right words to utilize in order to get that across. But like the actual feeling, but the best way, I guess, could be like waking up from a really weird dream
wow.
and I'm
Girl, that's
back where I'm meant to be. It's weird. Like that's the only way I can explain it. And I know I quantum jumped. Like I did a couple
that's
jumps
yeah. That's what I was
over
gonna say.
the last year and a half. I've done two. And honestly, I just wake up and feel completely different. It's so bizarre. And I feel so different now than how I felt last year at this time.
That's
And I am so focused on this journey and my work with the divine, with God, and everything I'm doing as far as what we're doing and like my teaching and stuff like that. And healing, I'm so focused on that. I just have no room. And I was saying this to a couple other people. I have no room for anything that's not pouring into me and
yeah,
supporting me.
yeah,
And I'm in a weird place. Actually, it's a beautiful place where I'm just like, okay, like I don't like, okay, bye. Like
yeah.
it's okay, you know, and it's
Yeah,
fine and it's nothing negative about it. It's just like I need people who are aligned and that's it, you know, and
yeah,
you've got to be, and that's pretty much it. Someone that's gonna be the balance in my life, friends, coworkers,
yeah,
family, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And it feels really good. And I know that my path now, like I feel very resolute in it and I know what I'm meant to be doing and how I'm supposed to be helping people. And it feels really good. And this is part of it. But as
yeah.
far as the manifesting has been amazing for me because my life has just like taken off.
Mm.
And um the whole twin thing and that's been crazy and
I mean, we can, we can be more candid about that part of the journey or whatever.
mm,
But because I can share the same thing, I feel like I think the last full moon. Well, actually, maybe it was yeah, it was from the last full moon, then the new moon. I definitely saw changes, and I didn't do any ritual the last full moon. I
mhm.
did do one for the new moon that was a couple weeks ago, and I
Yeah,
almost saw like immediate changes. There was, you know, how sometimes you will like think to yourself, "Oh, what if this would be a really cool thing if this happened?"
yeah,
But then I felt in my last timeline that kind of thing didn't really happen. You know, it was like I'll get this passing thought. It maybe happened once in a very blue moon, like it happened when I did manifest my kid and how beautiful she is. I did manifest that, but for a lot of other things, it didn't happen, you know. But I've noticed within the last new moon to now, I'm like, wow, things have really like kind of catapulted, and I almost feel like I'm in some kind of a magical kind of timeline where
yeah.
whatever the lesson is like you get the rewards almost as soon as you get the lesson,
Yes.
and people have more grace, or there's more people. Maybe and you know what I think it is, we are finally in that age of Aquarius energy where it is about, if you want to have success in any kind of, whether it's little success or a significant amount of success, you have to be okay with working with people, asking for help, being there to help, being about community, overcoming your shadow so that you could be part of a community or begin
Mhm.
one, or a healthy partnership, like talking yourself out of the doubts, talking yourself out of all of those, all the, I don't want to necessarily even use negative, but all of that self-talk that seemed to resonate more with the last timeline where it seemed like that was true.
Right.
It's like now we're in a different timeline where it's not as true.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're getting there, not even just in baby steps, but the divine is showing you that, hey, let this go a little bit more. We got some different plan for you this time, you know? And in all these other times in the past, there wasn't much different plan. Like
Yeah.
things to
Yeah.
start, the changes have come so good, and it's been easier, and it's been an easier time to get through some of these like initiation, spiritual initiations and spiritual lessons. It's been a much easier time, and I don't necessarily have to have the right answer. I'm noticing I just have to have a humble heart, and that's what's really like, I'm so grateful,
Yeah.
for the miracles that have happened. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I want to say. But for you, what miracles or what happened for you since the last full moon or the last new moon? Or
Um, well, just abundance as far as, you know, the work that we do, right? The reads, the mediumship, the
oh,
intuitive healing, all that stuff, the teaching. I am still getting everything prepared for Maui to speak there and to teach there and potentially New Zealand. So we're gonna see, everything's just it's lining up and I know it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when, where, and how big, right? I already know
yeah,
it's there. I already know it's done. Um, so that's huge. And of course, like stunts has a part of my heart. So it's always gonna be there in the background playing.
yeah,
But and what's interesting is I have found, because I was almost about to say like my purpose. But what's interesting is the last job I did, the one that I got hurt on, I actually found myself speaking about God and the divine on set with stunt people. And I was kind of like, this is different. And all the people that were on that set were absolutely amazing. And there were all these loving husbands, and they were talking about their wives and how much they love. It was beautiful. And I was like, wow. It was so cool to see that reflected because that's what I believe now.
yeah,
I see the beauty in men and I'm not looking for the negativity in them.
yeah,
And I see those men pop up and I see how much they love their wives and like I was
yeah,
just wow, this is so cool to watch and they're just talking about their family and it was just really cool. So that's been manifested and then my person, he's completely shifting. He's completely changing. He's showing up in an amazing way where I'm just like, holy crap, this is beautiful. This is
yeah,
amazing. And he's taking accountability for his life and he's really stepping up to the plate. And that's been huge. And you
yeah.
know the
Journey.
journey, yeah,
Yeah,
and which is topsy-turvy and it's a stupid roller coaster.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's it's taught me so much. And it's also reminded me of who I am. So it's all a blessing and of course family, everything really, and I'm grateful every single day for everything that I have. My mother, like, not
yeah,
many people have the same mother I do, and I
yeah.
don't
You're
know
right
that
about
kind
that.
of, yeah, yeah.
You're right.
I don't have really a big family, like a big relative family, like related. A lot of like I always was envious of really big boisterous families, and I
Yeah,
don't have that. But I have my mom, and she is beautiful. You know this. She's an incredible human being.
yeah.
I think she might be a saint or an angel. I don't know. So like every day
I
I'm thankful
agree.
that I
I
have
agree.
gratitude. Yeah, and
I
she's
agree
just
with
so
you.
sweet.
I know the times we had. I mean, I'm just so grateful we had made memories with you and your mom and us in Vegas that one time. I'll never forget. I'm like, wow, when I sit here and I think about our history, I'm like,
I
who would have ever thought
know.
from back then? And that was a whole different timeline.
I know, and that
That
feels
was
like
a
eons ago.
world away. Yeah, a world away. I can't, I mean, I would live in Las Vegas again. Yeah, if you went there too, I would live in probably this time only with like sincere friends, not with that
Absolutely.
last
Yeah.
yeah world away thing because that was
Yeah.
kind of that whole Las Vegas back then was yeah. Anyway, but your mom is like you know more than enough of a mom, for you, and
Yeah.
she shares that with people, and I really appreciate that about your mom. You feel the warmth from her a lot. So,
Yeah.
girl, yeah, I'm grateful. So I'm grateful to know you guys. And like you were saying, I was thinking about it today and how cold it is. I'm like, man, I'm so grateful I have heat. I'm grateful I have
Yeah.
heat. I'm grateful I had the ride I had today. I'm grateful for some of these Lyft driver conversations where it's been like
Mhm.
me in this timeline. It's felt like me reflected back to me, and not even to be like narcissistic. It was just that when I was a Lyft and Uber driver, it was like a ministry for me, and it was so much
Yeah.
fun to like help people or chat with people, be warm with them. And like, I don't know how, because it's like there's so many different things I do, and I know I'm a natural coach. So then there were so many different ways I was able to like offer ideas, and
Right.
not in this like condescending way, more so in the way like I was different. Hey, did you think about this? Or you know what, I tried this one time and it really worked. It was more like that, because some of the people I've talked to ended up like feeling like they needed to apologize to me because I'm not trying to, talk over you and talk, and be your dad, or, you know, but I never felt the need to correct myself. And I realized that when I was really genuine with people, and it wasn't like it was something that I was on the receiving end of a
Mhm.
lot in
Right.
being open, because other people will say, oh, well, maybe it's because you overcame this part. And I did overcome a little bit of a part. I
Mhm.
overcame a part of knowing that I deserved a little bit more. When somebody walked away, I was okay with not trying to get that person back,
Right.
and breadcrumbing and all of that other stuff. And it also was almost, I mean, not a fault of their own with everything that happened. It also was just the way I think the divine had it planned out,
Absolutely.
that it was up to a certain point, and we have soul contracts with people. And I'll always, definitely always have love, for anybody who's been any kind of a soulmate on my journey, just because they gave me a piece of myself back, as well as I was able to see myself through their lens, where they did have love for me too, as well as I was able to see what I needed to evolve more into and have, greater standards. And there was patience in that, and nobody really got mad at me for not changing fast enough, like nobody, they just left. So there's that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't really be that mad. But I'll tell you, in the last couple of weeks, I haven't felt this much joy and fascination with the good things in life, that whatever I had thought and my intuition said and whispered a nudge to me to reach out to somebody new, and then things started to unfold in a magical kind of way, and that person started to meet me where I was. That was very refreshing. That was something new. That was something I don't think I've ever really experienced with another male
Right.
that I am interested in. And the kind of generosity and the kind of miracles and all of that that has blossomed out of me connecting with this person has been out of this world. And I mean, I'm even today, I was kind of taken aback by how benevolent this person is. Well,
Wow.
we're doing this right now,
Right.
and they put on their like WhatsApp story our link to the YouTube
That's
channel.
so cool. Tell him thank you.
Exactly. So I've never had that level of support before. So
That's
I
so
really deeply
kind.
appreciate somebody walking with me, like,
Yeah,
and
that's
actually
really wow.
holding
Yeah.
holding my hand, and and that's something new. But it's also something that I'm starting to realize in my last position, like my last job, of all the different random phone conversations, how the world does have these other people, and everybody does have something to offer inside of them that can be very special if they're able to let down their guards. But oftentimes people don't necessarily, and I don't blame them. So you
Yeah.
don't see that level of beauty that often.
Mhm.
So I'm just happy I was able to meet somebody who was as open as I was willing to be at this point. But I'm not going to say that I didn't have to talk myself out of my shadows. Like, it's been a journey. And okay, keep my heart open. Let me not, get too passionate about whatever my insecurities are, like, because we all have them.
Yes,
I know I,
ma'am.
I know I shared my insecurities about, you know, relationships, period,
Yeah.
So I want to be on the lighter side in that, what, if this is a different timeline,
Mhm.
I can uplift myself out of my shadows, and feel more safe in taking a risk with investing in somebody in my heart a little bit more. But
Absolutely.
girl, it's been a journey though. I mean, I was on that twin flame journey, and it was a long time waiting for something big and substantial, and something like what's the word? Like I don't want to say a metamorphosis, but something paramount to happen.
Okay.
Like running the New York Marathon. At the end of the race, you want to at least make it to the end of the race and see what place you got. You know,
Yeah.
I think somebody stopped. You know, somebody stopped and it was, I don't know how many miles were left. I mean, it wasn't even,
Right.
it was probably stopped 2 miles from the finish line, you know,
Right.
and, but that's okay because I'm okay with what my destiny is. And this timeline is opening up to fascinating possibilities that didn't seem so realistic in my last timeline. It was just like,
Mhm.
well, I guess I'll hold out hope, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because it will, and I just posted this on my IG yesterday. The life that you're dreaming of will cost you your current life,
Yeah,
and vice versa. If you
yeah.
want to stay in this life, it's going to cost you your dream life. So it's like whichever one you want is going to cost the other. Um, and it is, and it requires you to step up into a different role. It just does.
And it shouldn't be such a painful thing, especially if there are remnants of what is on the other side. Like sometimes my, you know, I feel like God and my spiritual team will show me little glimpses of that, and I feel that's what my talking job was about,
Right.
showing me glimpses of what the other side, you know, what the grass is greener side could be, and actually be greener, and not
Absolutely.
because I was so loyal to the less green side that I was on.
Right.
And that I was proud of too. Because, you know, it's like, man, I'm a solid person. You know, it's like, oh, I love being so solid, but then not to the point that it's at a detriment to yourself, and that
Right.
you're and you also, nobody really knows what's going on in the other person's mind, life, what their truest intentions are. You don't really ever truly know that, so you're
Yeah.
always kind of in a state of a level of blindness and faith. And but then but then in the same breath, your heart kind of does know it a little bit when
Hmm.
the person is extremely genuine. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm never going to be the person that's like, oh, you should have known there were signs, you know, because people can metamorphose, and things can happen that change them, and then they become an addict overnight, which I've heard stories of. They can be meant for you and be the best person for you, and I mean, life changes people. So I don't think there's any guarantees in life when it comes to people, and I think that's part of this reality, is that knowing you can't control anybody, you know. So when we're on the
Anything.
road or anything. Yeah. When we're on the road, we have to share the road with other ignorant people who or other considerate people who, you know, who drive well and care about not hitting the next person. And there's other
Yeah.
people
It's
that don't care.
particularly in Atlanta.
Okay. I would, yeah. And even in my city, particularly here too, the craziness of the driving, you know.
Is it
So
bad there too?
it is, because close to
Is
the
it Phoenix or
border.
Tucson?
It's Tucson. Yeah, it's
Oh,
Tucson.
okay.
So, but I mean, Phoenix is probably just as bad. I mean, the road rage over here is something too, though. It's the road rage. It's the different cultures and the different ways of driving. You know, it's people new, you know, to America too. You know, and then it isn't just that. It's people from LA who ignorant as hell driving. And I could say
Well,
that. I could say that because I used to live in LA and sit in the traffic and see how
yeah.
crazy it was
Well,
there
see,
too.
when I lived in LA, I actually found that they were better drivers
Yeah,
in LA. Atlanta drivers are just horrible.
ignorant.
And I thought the DMV was bad. When I got to Atlanta, I was like, what is this? In LA, the traffic is bad because there's so many people, and it's just like you're just there on the 405 or the 101 or the 110. You're just like there. But at least there's palm trees and sun. Here, people just can't drive, and they just drive like well, one, they might not have insurance, they don't care. A lot of
Yeah,
uninsured motorists. Two, they just don't care, and they think it's their highway. Like, oh, by the way, this is my highway. And also your life doesn't matter. My own
yeah.
business.
They
That's
drive
how they
like
drive.
that. They drive like that out here too, and that's why I was like, man, I'm glad I'm in a Lyft right now.
Their car, their insurance.
Their road rage
Oh,
back, and their choices, but then again, I'm still in the vehicle, so I was like, I still got my angels. You know, I was like, hey, angels, I don't know what this person gonna do. And I don't know how this other person's going to react because they're the one cutting off my driver, and my driver has a reaction to that too. So,
Right.
girl, I mean, I don't know if you can win with a driving thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like totally a faith journey with driving, and I think it's really indicative of the life that we live. We cannot control other people,
Yeah.
and I
Sometimes
think,
I have you ever thought about just like I was thinking about this with him the other day and we were talking and I'm just thinking, gosh, the monks, they know, man, they just leave regular society and they just like
oh yeah, off the
hunker
grid and
down
all those.
somewhere.
Yeah, I've
Absolutely.
been dreaming. I have been dreaming about this with my new hand holding person.
Your new hand holding person.
You
Okay.
know, my new time, I will say this, my new timeline person, and he probably is gonna watch this too, but has shared with me all of these hacks and stuff and
Oh,
things that he's worked on, to be able to live completely off grid. Like that is a dream. That's, and he's on an island, and
oh
from
yeah,
an
yeah.
island
Yeah.
originally too.
Yeah.
So, and that's been my dream for a while. I just didn't think in my wildest dreams that I would ever, and I'm not speaking for the future because I don't know, but I would never meet somebody who had the similar dream and be dedicated to it.
I love that.
Like,
Well,
yeah,
when you move to the island, let me know and we will do
oh yeah,
that.
because it's gonna be a whole thing. My thing is, I want to have a safe haven kind of community for whatever may be happening for the future, because I know that I feel like right now is a preparing time for whatever's supposed to happen, because we are going to make a leap into new earth at some point, and that could be drastic. It could be, we don't know, but I think it's best to be as close to nature as possible when these changes happen, and that it's best to be living off the land, because that's what's natural. That was what was meant to be from the beginning. So I feel like the divine is in support of
Oh,
anybody
absolutely.
who is in support of the divine, so living off grid, getting rid of a lot of the stuff, being really pure hearted, being really holistic, I feel is the way to go. And and just really being pure hearted, so for me, I would love to just get land, to be able to share it with other like-minded people and have a community, because
Hmm.
it's really hard to do a lot of these things off grid without a community. And my
Yeah.
aunt is already doing it. She has her brothers and her sisters there to help her, because she
Oh,
always needs
yeah.
help with stuff like water and electricity, and if she's not feeling well, and she
Yeah.
has a community, and I hear the stories, and she shares the stories with me all the time, where I'm like, well, thank goodness you had your brother, thank goodness you had your sister.
Yeah.
She has like 8 siblings, or yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, because my grandma had 10 children, and then a couple of them have passed, but my dad's birthday is the same birthday as my aunt, and they're from the same mom, but two different dad. Actually, it's three different dads, because my dad was a love child. TMI, but right, let's scratch our head on.
We'll edit that out.
And baby boomer. No, no, no. My parents don't know nothing about this. I'm estranged, but I'm
Fair.
estranged. I don't talk to anybody. I need to be me. I need to do my divine purpose
That's
without
fair.
constraint.
Speak your truth.
As
Absolutely.
be exactly. I need to free
Absolutely.
myself. I need to tell the stories,
Absolutely.
because both of my parents are loved children. It is not just one. So when both are
Wow.
loved children and they're both out, then it can have the tendency of having narcissistic repercussions, because they were rejected at a young age. And oftentimes that NPT, that narcissistic personality disorder, the way that it comes about is through being rejected as a child at a young age, and then you're trying to rectify that hurt and that pain on why your biological parent let you go. So then it can really wreak on somebody's life for the rest of their lives, where they feel they have to control people, because they're afraid of losing,
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
already lost. So
Yeah.
I did grow up with that kind of parenting. It was very, very dramatic growing up. That's what I'll say. And even up until recently, a couple of years ago, where I had to just excommunicate myself from that family community.
Right.
And so when we talk about timeline, trust, I have jumped leaps and bounds, traveled to the ends of this country and back, just really trying to reestablish myself as my own individual, and attracting the kind of lifestyle, the kind of people, the kind of relationships that I know I want to breed in my life, after going through all of those shadows, and
Hmm.
those shadows following me and having all these crazy experiences because I didn't know how to cut those ties. I didn't know how to cut the cords, and I didn't know how to overcome that darkness inside me of the trauma that was imprinted on me and how to kind of like absolve myself of that. And that could take a lifetime for a lot of people who have gone through that,
Right.
you know? So it was a lot. But yeah, so that's my story. No, but a lot of people, I guess, don't really know. Even friends I had for 20 years are like, oh, both of your parents. Yeah, both of
Yeah, I
them.
didn't know that.
Both of them.
We have
Yeah.
been friends for
Almost, yeah, almost
maybe
close
20
to,
years.
almost, yeah, close to, yeah, almost close to that. Yeah, because yeah, for at least 2010, I've known you, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. And then now here we are, 2025. Isn't that crazy? Girl, yeah.
I was just thinking about that the other day, and he said something. He's just like, "Oh my God, time flies." I'm like, "Yeah, it's
Mhm.
2025." And it's funny because, my motorcycle is an '03, and I keep thinking it's 10 years old. It's
Ah.
it's 20 years old, and now I have to go, "Oh, oh."
Girl, it still works. That's
It
great.
does still work, yeah.
I would, you know what? I would keep it in my head. That's it's 10 years old because that thing's gonna live forever. You keep it at 10.
That's
I
true.
used to do that kind of thing with my vehicles. Like, oh, I know I haven't had an oil change. Nope, I had an oil change yesterday. This is gonna last me until I need.
And it just seizes up. Yeah, actually,
Well,
speaking of, I need an oil change, but yeah.
yeah. I'm not gonna say that it definitely bought me more time, but it was not like it didn't destroy my vehicle.
Exactly. I'm like, machines. Eh,
Well, the angels can only help you for so long
that's true.
before reality kind of bites, you know. So, and that's what happened. Like
Yeah.
I had to pull over my vehicle because it was started to smoke, and I was driving to Arlington, and
Mhm.
it was a BMW, and I was like, oh, yeah.
Kristen. Oh my
The people in the car next to me were like, your car is smoking, and I'm like, oh, that's me.
Oh my God.
I
You
had to
are
pull.
you are such a chick right now. You're such
I
a
Yeah,
chick.
exactly.
He's
You
like,
know what,
oh, where's that smoke coming from?
bro?
Oh,
Yeah,
it's my car. It's on fire. Okay.
because I had run out. You know what it was? Because when you get an oil change, you get all the top ups with all those
Right.
different fluids. Well, I hadn't gotten that for my antifreeze, and so I was completely out of that. So then, yeah, that's the way that happened. Then the engine wasn't doing so good because I didn't.
What happens when you don't change the oil?
But let me tell you this though. I'll tell you this. One of my parents, I won't rat them out, very much encouraged me to get this luxury vehicle because they wanted me to keep up with the Joneses too.
Okay.
And so I felt coerced into getting this luxury vehicle, not knowing, okay, that the maintenance would be as expensive as it was.
Yeah.
And this was my first vehicle out of college. And my what the same parent promised to get me a vehicle for my graduation gift. It was the recession of 2008. They weren't able to do it, but then they went with me to the car lot and encouraged me to get this luxury vehicle and help with the monthly payments or whatever.
Okay.
But it wasn't for long enough though, because I really struggled through paying for the monthly payments, and then the maintenance was like a lot, and I didn't realize that.
Astronomical.
Yeah, and that's what really screwed me. And I was only 22 at the time, so when my car started smoking, I must have been 24 or 27, and that was the end of that vehicle, pretty much.
That's
Because
fast. Was it a new car?
it wasn't a new car, but it was new car money. I must have spent close to 30,000 on that. Yeah, and I paid it off. So 6 months after I paid it off, that's when I had the smoking. Uh-huh. Yeah. So, girl, I've been through like 5, 6 cars, and it's like it always feels like something karmic with a vehicle. And I love driving. That's the crazy
Me
thing.
too. Me
I
too.
love driving. I wouldn't give up the experience, of driving because of these experiences. Because really, for me, and the background that I've shared, having a vehicle with a suitcase or two in my back trunk whenever my parents felt like they just want to throw me out like trash, because that is part of their the mental issues that they had to deal with, right?
Right, right.
Is that the way that they treat other people is that they're discardable easily.
Mm.
So if I have a disagreement with them one day, my all of my clothes could be in the driveway in bags, or next to the trash, or
Wow.
at the end of the driveway, and then the neighbors will say, "Hey, so and so," to my mom or my dad, you have luggage at the bottom of your driveway. And it was my brother's one time, so it wasn't just me. So but that's what they would
Wow.
do. They would just throw us out, even when I had my kid, and they begged me to come back home. And I avoided it as much as I could. I had two jobs. I couldn't get a third. I'm pregnant, and
Mm.
I wanted my own place. It just was not feasible in the Northern Virginia area. And I was stuck at their house, and all kinds of crazy things happened until finally they just randomly threw me out because of a disagreement. And it wasn't anything really even that serious. But I had an 11-month-old child. And mind you, they begged me to stay at their house. And you could imagine the craziness I went through after that. I'm postpartum. I wasn't working as much.
Wow.
So it's like so many of these experiences, I had to make my own miracles happen, working almost with nothing. So people could call me a magician. I still don't even know how I got through a lot of these situations. I had a couple friends I could rely on that were able to help me some of the time.
Right.
I had to stay in my parents' house that they were selling and sleep on the empty floor with my baby every other night. It was just really crazy. While I'm pumping in my vehicle, I'm still pumping milk in my vehicle.
Jeez.
It was a lot, girl. But you see, that was the old timeline. That was the
Right.
kind of thing
Right.
that is like, I'm dredging myself up from the ashes every 2 seconds. And
Right.
how am I still here? But you know what? Nobody could say that I didn't keep going, that I didn't stop trying. I was always trying something new that would provide me maybe some kind of stability.
Right.
And there would be that little inkling of hope inside you to say, maybe this is the time that I'll finally
Mhm.
get the stability. Maybe this is the time. And it would never be the time.
Yeah.
Maybe I would get a little bit here and there, but to get me to the next destination, but it was almost not. It didn't last. So I'm really looking forward to this timeline and things being more stable and lasting, and letting go of all of these traumas of having to do things all alone,
Yes.
having to do things all alone with my baby and trying to shield her from the harshness of life so young. So that has been it's been yeah. And even lately, I would say it's been a lot easier miracles. I mean, I'm really grateful for, and you had said this to me one time, and it stuck in my head for the last several months. Yeah, you probably should ask for help more. That's one thing you said that to me. You probably should ask people for help more often. And I'm like, that's what she sees. That's probably true. I do need to ask for more help. And I have been, and it's been paying off literally,
Good.
because life it's been less like impossible
Yeah.
to survive. It's been less impossible to
Yeah.
survive
Yeah.
now that I've been, asking, being more humble and being so great. But it kind of makes you feel naked though, girl, to
But that's
ask
okay.
something. Yeah, you're like, I
Um,
shouldn't be here. And maybe it's also the way I grew up too, the chastising of you shouldn't do. It was so much of that growing up, like, I'm
right.
wrong for this, I'm wrong. It's just so much focus on what was wrong. So that's why I wouldn't ask for help. I'm like, I'm wrong for asking. And you would never believe it. When I was a kid, I didn't ask for anything.
Yeah.
Unless
See.
it was Christmas or my birthday, because I'm like, it's wrong to ask for what you want. That's horrible, especially
Yeah.
in relationships,
Yeah.
to
It makes you
learn
like
something.
wanty or needy or whatever, but that's not true. And it's
Yeah.
the vulnerability and the nakedness, the showing up naked essentially for people that you trust. That's actually a huge strength
Yeah.
because the inability to ask for help is actually weak.
Yeah.
A
See?
weakness.
Yeah, that's what the world wants to say, being vulnerable is a weakness and all that. But it's like, no,
Yeah.
it takes a really strong person to actually be like, you know what, I really need this help right now, and you're my last hope. And yeah, and I had to do that. I definitely felt naked, but I also got what I needed. And I've never felt more elated and more of a grown up, to kind of just like rise and be like, hey, this is my reality.
That's
And
perfect. How
it's
perfect is that?
exact because I that was just the word I was going to say, and I was going to say it's not perfect, but it is perfect. And I don't think a lot of people really share that enough, that their life is they're hanging by threads and it's not perfect, and it's not perfect because they don't know what to do next.